All right, everybody, so we're moving into a new section of problems. If you go back to some of our older videos, we've basically covered all the very basics of algebra, all right? And now that we've covered the basics, we can start to try to use some things that we've probably seen before, all right? We're going to talk about order of operations and kind of the basics of it. Some of you have heard different things of order of operations. This is what I think that you should use. This is what my classes use and that they do pretty well at. Looking over here, so we talk about grouping. Okay, so this would be parentheses. Now you've probably heard of PEMDAS, or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, things like that. This one's just a little different, so it's grouping. So you got parenthesis groups. Then you go to powers or exponents, kind of the same thing. And then you have multiply and divide from left to right. And I think right in here is where it starts to kind of change a little bit. So multiply and divide from left to right. And then you go into adding and subtracting from left to right. All right, so let's do a couple of problems here. I'm going to move my camera just a little bit. And if we're following along with our grouping and our powers, I would suggest going through these, like I always say, before I do it, and see if you can do it before I do it. All right, grouping. There's no grouping symbols in this problem. Powers and exponents, we have one right here. So that's 3 times 3, because it's 3 squared. So that's 9. Now, I really encourage people to write their steps out after each time that they do it, but be really careful because you might forget something or write something wrong. Same thing with doing the problems in your head. I have seen a lot of students that are like, oh, I can do it in my head. They're great with mental math. But the problem is some of the brightest students in my class have struggled the most sometimes to be able to get the right answers because they make small mistakes. Writing it down helps the most. Being able to do it like this helps the most to go through your answers. Okay, so we went through exponents. Now we're going to do multiplying and dividing from left to right. So we're going just down the line here. So 27 divided by 9. Okay. Now we're going to go 3 times 2. So I'm going to 3 times 2, 6, minus 3. So this would bring us to our last point, subtraction from left to right. There you go. Okay. So that would be our answer for order of operations. Now, this one, if you watched the video with the distributive property, I've seen a few kids that will do this. They see this and they automatically think distributive property, but if you look inside of the parentheses first, you'll notice that you're actually just getting asked to do this problem here. So 13 minus 8. All right, and then instead of trying to distribute in that 7, you need to do that. So 13 minus 8 here. Okay, so this would be done first. Now I have 7 times 3, or 7 times 5. Okay, so there you go. 7 times 5, 35, and our first answer was 3.